Good morning. Welcome so much to Dragonmount DIY. I am your host, Maureen or Mashiara. I am a crochet designer and crocheter at Calfetti Crochet. So there's lots of different ways you might know me, and any of those titles or names are fine. So I'm super excited about today's craft. We're going to be doing ceramic mug paintings. So I've done this craft a couple of times, but never with Wheel of Time themed mugs. So this kind of relies on drawing skills, or if you don't have great drawing skills, you can do something abstract. That's totally fine. The good thing is it's forgiving, and if you're not satisfied with how the paint turns out, we do have a very easy way to erase and try again. So, as long as you're willing to stick with it, I think we can turn something very, very beautiful on these ceramic mugs today. So, for today, what you're going to need is a ceramic mug. Just plain white is what I got. I actually got this at Goodwill, so it was like 50 cents, a dollar, or something like that. I have heard when doing this project that a cheaper mug is better, just because the glaze is going to be a little bit cheaper, so it'll be easier for the paint to dry in the glaze once we heat it. And so this is the one I did beforehand. It's got the cute little Wheel of Time dragon. Again, my drawing skills are not the best, but I think it turned out pretty cute. He's pretty recognizable, I think, as the dragon. So I'm going to recreate this, so I'll show you how I did this, and, if you wanna do something else, of course, this is completely customizable. The only limit is your imagination. So, what you're going to need, as I already said, you need your ceramic mug. You are going to need rubbing alcohol. I got 70% rubbing alcohol, but I don't know if that percentage is the best one. Mm. That's just the one I got. And then what I got is oil-based markers. I did get the Sharpie brand. So they're oil-based. Sorry, that side. This makes it water resistant. As I've done this in the past, it's not dishwasher safe. So it did start to peel once I put it in the dishwasher. So it is recommended if you use this for drinking, wash it by hand. I'm just going to use it for decoration. You know, I like having mugs on my desk for pens and stitch markers and crochet hooks and things like that. So that's what mine will be for. So these are what the Sharpies look like. Let me hold it a little bit closer. So they do have that that noise. I just adore that noise. So I'm very um auditorily stimulated. I don't know what the word is for that, but when I hear noises, it makes me happy. So that's one that really makes me happy. So this pack, I got it on Amazon. It was, I think, $18 maybe for the whole set. It comes with 2, 4, 6, 8 colors, just the normal red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, and white. I only use the red and yellow for my cup, but again, it's really up to you what you feel like designing. So with our rubbing alcohol, you are going to need a cotton ball, paper towel, something like that for us to clean the mug. So we do need to make sure our fingerprints are on it. So our fingerprints, as you may know, are have our essential body oils. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but they do. So we're gonna start by cleaning our mugs with the rubbing alcohol. That's going to make it nice and smooth, no oils on it, and it's going to help the oils of the paint stick better to the ceramic mug. So if you have cotton balls, anything like that, I'm just going to use a paper towel. I also did grab some Q-tips. So the Q-tips we're going to be using for erasing if we make a mistake. So we can get on there once we draw something on here. We can do a little spot erasing if we need to without having to erase the whole entire thing. Of course, if you don't like it at all, you can erase the whole entire thing. All you need to do is wipe it down with the rubbing alcohol again. So that's what we're going to do first. I'm going to grab just a paper towel. And I'm going to fold it a little bit grab my rubbing alcohol and just dab some on this paper towel. Okay, so once I clean my mug, I want to make sure I don't touch this side of it anymore. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to the handle, but I'm just going to give it a nice quick scrub. All right, that looks good. I'm going to set it off to dry. We definitely want to make sure that dries before we add on any of the paint, because the rubbing alcohol does remove the paint. So if it's wet, the paint won't stick. So we're going to let that dry for just a second. I want to draw attention to my outfit. We are going to go see Fantastic Four after I'm done with this. So this is going to be kind of a short craft. It is a very quick, easy craft. So seriously, it's not going to take a long anyway. I'm on a long time. But we are going to go see the Fantastic Four. So I'm super excited. I don't have any Fantastic Four outfits, but I do have a Marvel outfit. So I'm wearing that and I'm super excited to wear this to the movie. And just real quick, I do want to show you the picture that I will be focusing on. Okay, so I found this online on Dragonmount. It's in the gallery. So obviously mine did not turn out this detailed or this good. These Sharpies, while awesome, have a very fat tip, so it is hard to get those details. I think the back of the box does say they have additional tips. They have extra fine, fine, and then the large bold. So the ones I got are, it does not specify. Oh, medium. Okay, so I got medium tips. So again, you can't see the details the best. Let me go ahead and switch to this view. All right, so yeah, so the details aren't super clear, but I thought it got the job done. It's pretty cute, in my opinion. So if you do have excellent artistic skills and you want to be a little bit more precise, I would recommend going with a fine or very fine tips. That would probably be a lot nicer. All right, let's see. I think this fella's probably dry enough, so we're going to go ahead and flip over to that and we'll get started. Oh, sorry, that's the one I want. Okay, I'm going to move that fella out of the way. All right, so when I did this, I started with the red. So I got my red Sharpie marker. You got to give it a couple little shakes. Let that paint sink in. Once you take off the tip, they start out, oh, sorry, where's my tip? There we go. It starts out white, and you do need to do the thing where you push it down to get the ink paint flowing, but mine's already ready to go because I did this a couple days ago with my example. So I think this one will be nicer actually because it'll wrap around a little bit better. And the other one, since he was wider, my dragon didn't go all the way around, but I think we can make it a little bit more wavy to go all the way around the cup on this one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a red, and I'm going to just grab my Sharpie, and I'm going to just dive in. Unfortunately, the best way to do it is to do it, and it might not look right, and you might be kind of scared to give it a try, but just jump on in there. So I'm going to pull up the image real quick. So I can see it and not have it block the screen. All right. Beautiful. I will even include this link in the chat. There we go. Oh, hello, Blueberry. Awesome. I do know that there is the rewatch going on today. So yes, that's fantastic. So Save Watt is putting on a campaign to rewatch the Wheel Time today. So if you do have some free time, go ahead and stream it on Amazon Prime. Let's get those ratings going. Let them know that we're still interested. We still want to watch Wheel of Time and we want new seasons. So thank you for joining me, Blueberry. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to just jump on in and try it. Okay. So I'm making sure I keep my fingers off the middle of my mug. I don't want to touch the middle part. That's where my finger oils will mix with the paint oils. That's a no-no. All right. So I'm just going to dive right in. So I'm going to start with his face. His face will be right about here. And then I'll make his body come around. And I will elongate this a little bit, I think. I'm going to try to emphasize his sinuous body. All right. So I want his paw to be there. So I'm going to start his head right about here. A little bit more tricky doing this on camera than it is just doing it on my couch. And he's got a little horn right there. We're going to go down here. We're going to give him some teeth. And some more teeth. There's his chin. And there's his neck. Ooh, sorry, let me scooch forward a little bit. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't look very impressive right now, but it's okay. Trust the process. So I'll do the details later. So that's his little hair doohickeys. So let's come back over here and do his little wavies. Oh, beautiful. Okay, and that's going to go down onto his neck. Okay. All right, from there, I'm going to do this sinewy part of his neck over here. And then his paw is going to go this way. So I'm going to pause just a second, haha, and do his paws or his legs right here. So this one's the background leg, so it's going to come out from behind. And up. And I'm going to try to do a little bit more detail, if possible, on this version. Take my time a little bit more. He's got such cute little paws. Okay, not quite, but that's all right. And I'm going to give him a little claw on each. We will eventually trace this with the yellow. So if it doesn't look exactly how you want it to, we will have time. All right. All right. It looks like he's saying hi. Okay, not so bad so far. All right. So now I'm going to continue on with his body. Oh, dang. His foot's going to go a little bit different. Oh, I should have moved him up. Okay. Well, this is a good opportunity. He needs to be moved up a little bit. So I am going to erase everything I've done so far. So I just have my original paper towel. I'm just going to reapply the rubbing alcohol. And I'm just going to erase. Oh my gosh. Oh no, it is. I was going to say it's not coming off, but it is. Okay, his face needs to be moved up further so I have more room for his arms and legs at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to just wipe that off. Give it a good cleaning. Okay, and I'm going to let it sit for just a second and let it dry. All right, so that's how you can see, yep, it is easy to fix mistakes. We can completely stop. We can completely redo it. Hey, Blueberry says their hand would have been shaking more. It is just, you just got to dive into it. It's going to be not perfect. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times we stop creating art because we want it to be perfect. And instead of just, fun, it should spark joy. So to quote Mary Kondo, it is. It's a fun, exciting project. So definitely, it's sparking joy for me. Hey, Rapunzel. Hey, welcome. I wonder if dry erase markers would work to erase the permanent markers. Maybe. I'm not quite sure. It could. Definitely worth a try. I am all for trial and error. See what's going to work. And if it doesn't, try something else. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give it another minute. Yes, Blueberry says I often put off being creative. Sorry, I can't read this morning because I get stuck in the steps involved. Yes. As a crocheter, I find that a lot of times my projects don't turn out the way I want, and it's very disheartening and it saps your motivation sometimes, but better done than perfect, I think is the phrase, or maybe I just made that up. I don't know. All right. Let's try this fella again. All right, so I'm going to move his head up more. So his head will be here instead of here. And that'll give me more room to do his sinewy body and his other leg down here. Okay. So I'm going to pull back up my picture and let's try again. Sorry, I'm going to make that a couple more times. All right, again, I'm going to make sure I'm holding my mug at the top and the bottom so that I'm not putting any of my finger oils on it. That's icky. All right. So here's going to be his paw, and here will be his paw. So I want his head here. Maybe being a little bit more mindful and planning a little bit better. Okay, that's all right. All right, so again, I'm going to just start with his hair doohickeys. Looks like that, sort of. And then his head goes like this, and then he's got his little horn-looking thing. And then we do his mouth. And now we got his teethers. And his other teethers. And there's his chin. And it goes like that. Okay. That looks a little bit worse than the other version, but that's okay. I'm going to do his flowing wavy hair back here. Got 4 of them. Okay. That's going to eventually go up, but I'll do those details later. The details of his face are mostly going to be the yellow, so we're just going to color this all in red once we are satisfied with how this looks. All right, so let's do his sinew body. And his arm's going to go here. And give him 5 toes. And some arm ruffles and some claws. Okay. Okay. Again, we can make that beefier if we need to, because we are going to be filling in the whole thing with red. So here's his other paw. Again, we're not going to be filling it in with red, so I don't really care if it's not exactly perfect. Yeah, see, he's still a little bit too low. That's okay. We're just going to have to handle it. Okay, trust the process. We're just going to keep going. So that's, again, I don't really need to put the details here because we're going to color over them and then we'll trace them in yellow. Okay. So that goes here. And that links up with there. And then he's got his sinewy body like this. Oh, that looks terrible. Okay, I think it'll be okay once we add in the facial features. It won't look so weird because right now he looks like he's got a ginormous head and a tiny little stick neck, but that's okay. We're going to trust the process. Okay, so this has to go up a little bit. I guess we can just make it curvier. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to start trying to curve my cup so we can get his body going this way. That's his arm. And that's his arm. And the sinew body comes this way. Let me just think of where I want his tail to be. Here and then there. And then there's his hump. Okay. Give him a big old hump. That'll make his other legs a little bit easier to see in the back. Okay, another leg's going to go there, and then the other leg's going to go there. And then we're going to do his tail. Okay, the tail is going to be kind of cute because it curves around like this. Okay. All right, for his tail, it kind of does meet in a little point. And then it's got some frillies on the edges. Yes, it is super tricky working on a curved surface. Like his tail is probably not going to be proportional to his face, but it's okay. We'll try our best. That's all we can do. So here's his tail. So he's got like a little wavy here. And he's got a wavy point that meets there. And then it goes around. And a wavy point there. That goes right there. Okay, that's not super crazy bad. Okay, again, we're going to be coloring all this in with red. So we're mostly just looking for the outline to make sure the outline kind of looks right. All right, let's go back to his middle parts. This is too thin, it needs to be thicker. Whoa, okay, well, that's a good, let's pause and get out our Q-tip so we can erase a little bit of that. All right, so I just have a Q-tip, actually half a Q-tip. I'm going to actually just kind of rub it in, woo, rubbing alcohol at the top. And I'm just going to erase that line a little bit. It got a little bit too wonky. A little bit too out of the way. Oh, I'm just going to spot erase that. Okay, and then just give it a second to dry. All right. Well, that's drying. I'm going to focus on his leg. Oh, shit, I touched it. I mean, I touched it. Oh, nope, let's get rid of my fingerprints and let that dry. Anyway, so now that that's drying as well, and that's drying for just a second, his other leg, I think, is here. So we can do the back leg. Yeah, so his back leg goes right there. Kind of towards the back of his hump. So I'm just going to give him 5 fingers. Yikes. 5 fingers. He's got a little bit of an elbow. Okay. And then he does have some fluff there. Yeah, that doesn't really look like a foot, but that's okay. All right, let's come down over here. So there's going to be a line kind of like going here for his middle, and the other leg does come out of that line. So right about here, got some fluff on his knee, his little paws. And there's, I would call it his hawk. That's what it is called on a dog. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, I'm gonna just start coloring this in. So again, just trust the process. It might not look crazy the best, but it's okay. So I'm going to just start coloring in, making those lines a little bit smoother if I need to. Again, we're going to outline this with the yellow, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Of course, even if we weren't outlining it with yellow, it still does not need to be perfect. I need to try to make my lines a little bit more continuous and not so lumpy. It does, once it starts drying, it does start rubbing off a little bit. So maybe, like Rapunzel said, using dry erase marker, kind of the same thing. It does get a little bit tricky. So it might rub off a little bit, but it's okay. If you dry it and then go over it again, it should be fine. This is a Sharpie paint medium. So it is, sorry, hold it right here. It is oil based. And so they say it's waterproof. Waterproof, yeah, so you can wash it, but some people did say it makes it dishwasher safe. I would not suggest putting it in the dishwasher, but it is an oil-based Sharpie, and it's paint, oil-based paint, and so it just makes it easier than painting with a paintbrush, I feel. Okay, so you can see it's starting to get a little bit streaky. I think if you just go over it a couple more times, it gets better. The answer is always more paint, not less paint, in my opinion. Yeah, I did not give him his claws, so I'm going to give him some claws real quick on his toes. Okay, not that bad. Yes, these pens, I think they're good for lots of different surfaces. I've only ever used them on ceramic mugs. But Blueberry says they work on wood as well, which would be really fun because I like working with wood as well, and not having to paint but being able to draw sounds better. Oof, okay, here's that other, looks kind of like a chicken head, whatever, or a rooster, whatever that thing is on a rooster. That's what it looks like to me. And just keep coloring it in. Not too tricky this step. Make sure we get all the spots. And so I was thinking on the other one, because I do have some room on the back, I'd like to add a little bit something else, even if I just write the Wheel of Time or something like that. So I might do that if we have time after this is done. And I'm going to try to make him a little bit chunkier right there. He's a sinewy, skinny dragon, but I don't want him to be unproportional. These are very smelly, so it's probably best if you it's in a well ventilated room. Like these are even more smelly than like actual Sharpies. So make sure you're doing safety first. All right, so since we are going to be coloring this in like that, those details I put, like I'm just coloring them up because we're going to draw those in yellow. I'm going to try to make this a little bit more beefy. Definitely want to have a beefy dragon. And again, if you're not absolutely satisfied, you can go back and erase any of this you want. Maybe even the whole thing. I'm pretty satisfied. I think it's cute, so I'm okay with it so far. Okay. And I'm trying my best not to touch any part of the mug, only just the handle and the top and the bottom. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, now his face. Trying to make his teeth a little sharper, I think. Definitely want an intimidating dragon as well. So as I've mentioned before, I am a teacher, and we did go back to school this week for training. So I'm doing training at school. So I've been on campus every day this week, and it's nice. Definitely, I get excited every year to go back and teach because I love my job. It's fantastic. But it also is very hard saying goodbye to summer. It was a really relaxing summer this year. I did enjoy that I had my Dragonmount DIY tutorials to look forward to each month. And just a lot of crocheting, a lot of playing video games, just, everything that makes wonderful summers. Now it's a little bit sad going back, but I am super excited. Our first day of school with the kiddos is next week. So, one more week of getting the school ready and doing our trainings and all that stuff. And then it's back to teaching. And I'm super excited about this year. But I am also sad that summer's over, and it's okay. You can have two feelings that are true at the same time, even if they are opposites. So I can be happy and sad at the same time that summer's over. Okay, his head's still a little bit more beefy than I want, but I'm gonna just press on. Okay, I think everything else looks good. I like that he takes up the whole entire mug. No, it's okay. We're gonna trace that in yellow. Okay. Yeah, I'm satisfied. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit for a second and dry. And then I'm going to get the yellow paint ready to go. Make sure you give it a shake. And it's like the best noise ever. There was one point when I first started driving, and I was a late bloomer, so I didn't drive until I was 18. And I had a steering wheel cover, because it gets hot. We're in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's hot. and I had an Easter egg, a plastic Easter egg, and I filled it with cereal, and I stuck it inside of my steering wheel cover. So anytime I turned my car, it was like cereal going and then turning the other way. And that just made me so happy. I don't know what the diagnosis of that is, but I really, really love noises, good noises. Okay. Yeah, I think it's all right. Okay, the outline looks definitely like it's dried. It does dry fast. I mean, so it is like I can touch it and it's not coming off on my finger. Um, but I want it to be dried enough that this won't mix. And so looking at my original, you can see some places where it, it just mixed, so it's a lot lighter than the other. And I bet you if I did a second coat, it would have been better, but it's okay. I think he looks fine. Oh, goodness, this one doesn't want to come off. Oh, I need my yellow paint, so I hope it does. Yeah. There we go. All right. That one was extra sticky for some reason. So yeah, you can even see I still got some red on my marker tip. I'm just going to dab it a little bit to try to get that off. And then wipe this down a little bit. It's super sticky. Why is it so sticky? I'm just going to try to clean this a little bit with my rubbing alcohol. So it's not so sticky. Weird. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, that's gross. Look at that. I don't know why that's so sticky. Okay. Well, whatever. It's not going to impact our painting. All right. I'm going to start his tail because that's where we started. So that's going to be the most dry. So I'm just going to start to trace around it. I'll try my best not to get on the red right now. Just kind of like go around the outside edge of it. Okay, that's not so bad so far. Oops, that was pretty bad. I just twitched. Not too bad. This is going to be the hard part, I think. Just trying to get his little toe beans. I'm going to just trace around it completely. And then, no, that looks terrible. Okay, there you go. So that's how you can see the paint wasn't exactly dry. So we'll come back with the red and put a red dot on top of each of those little toenails. I think that'll make that look better. But it's okay. We're just going to keep going as best we can. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. Point of this is just to have something fun and that makes you happy on your desk, or if you want to put your coffee a calf in it. His little nose hump. There's his teethers. His chin. Don't hesitate, just do it. Okay, his paw does go right there, so I did draw on top of that. Okay. Oops, I didn't do his toe beans on here. Here, that's good. Okay. While that's yellow is drying, I'm gonna flip back over to the red and do little dots on his toe beans. Just so that it looks like it's his nails. Oh, maybe. That looks pretty terrible. Super fancy dragon with painted toenails. So that one looks good. Yeah, that one looks weird, but that's okay. Didn't look at his toenails on that one. Yeah, that'll do. I don't think that's bad. Actually, I'm gonna go over that with some red because I didn't like that I kind of twitched him in the lines. Yeah, that's better. Okay, switching back to my yellow. And now I'm going to need to pull up that image again. Okay, so let's hop back over there and look at what this fellow looks like. All right. So again, he's going to have some fancy frills on his tail. So his tail's kind of like pointed, but it's got the frills on the top and bottom. And then he's got a line going through his middle that kind of shows his back versus his belly. The back right leg comes off of that line separating his belly and his back. But then the front right leg goes in front of that line. So we're going to work on those details first, and then we'll deal with his face. I think that face is going to be the most tricky, trying to get like his eyeballs and stuff. So let's just, again, we're going to just dive right in. Okay, so I'm going to, again, just blot this a little bit, get rid of that little bit of red I had. It's going to get a lot more red coming up, but that's okay. All right, so his tail goes to a point, and then it goes past his frill. Okay, so past his frill like that. Okay, and then the same on the top, kind of like this, and then past his frill. Okay. That's not so bad. And that didn't bleed as much as I thought it would. All right, now down here at his tail, I guess, the rounding of the tail, it's going to go up and then in the middle. Okay, sorry, I'm going to do this sideways. So it's like here, and it's just going to go in the middle. And we're just going to do a line down the middle until we get to his front paw. Okay, we'll stop there. I'm going to try to do that a little bit darker. Oh, shoot. No, it's mixing. Okay, I'm not going to do it a little bit darker. We will let it dry first. All right, so now his foot, back foot comes out of here. So I'm going to mark it up with the little frillies there. And then he did have a little something like that. Yeah, that back foot looks pretty terrible. We do need a line connecting here to show that that's his back leg. All right, we do need a line here to show that that's his, you know, whatever. That leg is in the back. All right, and then here's his elegant looking shoulder. It's got a lot of, I don't know, frills, I guess. Do dragons have frills? Maybe I would say. Okay, before I do that, I'm going to look at his neck. So his neck goes here and curves down. And then we do have that line that comes down halfway. Okay. I'm going to give him his frills. He's got 1, 2, and 3. And it goes to his elbow. And then he's got some joints or something there. Okay. That's not bad. And then we just want to connect this with that. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that line should be a little bit more curved right there, but I don't know that I want to mess with it too much. All right, let's take a look at the head. I think this is going to be the hardest part. All right, so he does have a little nostril. Okay, not too tricky. Okay. Let's look at his eyeball. His eyeball goes from his fringe, and he's kind of just eyeball shaped. So like here, down to his snoot, and then back around. Okay, that's eyeball-ish. Okay, and then his eyeball is just like a diamond, or sorry, an almond shaped inside. I'm going to put a red dot in the middle of that to make it more eyeball-ish. Okay, and then he's got some lightning looking bolts here. Okay, and then this connects to there. And then he's got some extra layers of fringe here. 1, 2, 3. Connects to that. And let it dry a sec. Okay, I'm going to touch up a couple of these places that were a little bit blended. Let's make it a little bit darker. Oops. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Okay. I'm going to let it just sit for a second and dry. And then I'm going to go over his eyeballs again. Yes, these colors are super good. I mean, and well, definitely the red and the yellow together, I think looks nice, but it pops pretty good on the mug too. I wonder if it would have been better if I did a black mug. I don't know. That's okay. Okay, I'm gonna just try to dab this a little bit darker. Oh, maybe that's how you do it. Doesn't look super bad. I think he's pretty cute. Okay, I'm gonna put away my yellow, get back to red. Kind of afraid to do too much on the touch-ups. And I want to just give him an eyeball. Aw, he's kind of cute. I think his head's a little bit too big. We could go back and clean this up a little bit, make it a little bit smaller, subtract some of this area, but I think it's okay. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and let that dry for a second. And then I'm just going to grab this one real quick and show you that I've got this whole backside. I don't want to do another dragon, but it would be kind of fun to do something else right there. Even just the ancient symbol of the Aes Sedai, or maybe the Wheel of Time. I don't know. There's got to be something I can do. At the same time, I've already heated this one, so I don't know if heating it again would be a good idea. So maybe I'll just leave it. The details are definitely cleaner on this one. I made him bigger. But his head's a little bit too big on this one, but that's okay. A lot longer, more sinewy. But still, a pretty good rendition, I think. Right. Well, he's drying. Let's talk about the final step. So this one, unfortunately, I can't show you because you do have to put it in the oven. So since they have typically ceramic like this has that glaze on it, so you can see it is shiny. You typically glaze pottery in ceramic. We have to fire it. Obviously, I don't have a kiln, and I don't think most people don't just have a kiln. So what we do is we just put it in the oven. So it works. You're going to put it in the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. The important thing is you put it in while the oven's cold. So don't preheat the oven before you put this in. You heat the oven and the mug at the same time. So what I did, and I did that this morning, I put this in on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven, turn the oven on to 300, and then set a timer for 30 minutes. After it's done, once the timer goes off and you're ready to get it out, again, it needs to cool down in the oven. It's the same with a kiln. You do have to, I think it's pressurized even, the kiln. Okay, kind of the same thing. It needs to heat up with the oven and then cool down with the oven, because if you take it in or put it in when it's hot, and this is not, the change in temperature can make it explode. Definitely, we don't want any of our mugs exploding. Safety first, please. So once it's done, you're going to just let it cool in the oven. And so what I did is I opened the oven door a little bit and let it cool down quicker that way, but it still stayed in the oven for the full 45 minutes after it was done to get it to cool down. Okay, and that's how it makes it more permanent. Okay, again, I'm going to suggest not putting in the dishwasher, but if I go and I wash this by hand, scrub it real good, I can totally drink from this. Okay, it is going to be safe to drink from. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with this one when I get home from the movie theater. But unfortunately, it's time for me to go. So, any questions, any comments, any concerns we have? Give that marker a good shake for me. Oh, yeah. All right. We love that noise. Like, I could just walk around all day. Then just listen to that. Oh, so satisfying. I am going to just real quick put in the comments what you're going to bake it at. Bake an oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Do not preheat. Let mug cool. In oven. Oven. Oh, I said over. Bake in over. All right. Bake in the oven, please, not in the over. If you followed along or if you're planning on doing this some other time when you have some free time, please definitely share pictures with us at Dragonmount. You can reach me at Mashiara Sadai or Calfetti Crochet, both of those account. Please message Dragonmount on Instagram. We're Dragonmount with an underscore at the end. You can at us to show us any of these crafts you've been doing, or if you've done any of them in the past. I'd love to see some people actually doing some of these. Like, and if not, that's fine. If nobody's crafting along, I don't care. Crafting is what brings me joy, so I will be here every last Saturday of the month, whether or not people want to join along. So thank you so much for joining me. Definitely check out dragonmount.com. We also have a Patreon where you can have access to fun rewards prizes. I think Tom from our community show is going to be mailing out some of the crafts I've already done. We do those, I think, during a live. We did one a couple weeks ago on one of the live shows. I guess it was last month. But then also a Patreon winner will be selected to get one of those crocheted things too. I think next time we'll do another crochet item. Crochet is where my heart is at, and I like to do crochet, but I also want to make sure this is accessible for people that aren't really interested in crochet. So I will try to do as many non-crochet crafts as possible, but please remember that crochet is what makes me happy. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Tomorrow's interview, Zenobia Kloppers. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so please, if you are so inclined, if you are financially able, support Dragonmount. It does bring you content from content creators who just love to do this. And so we thank you for your support. And definitely, if you are able, please support us. We love you. We can't do it without you. So have a good rest of the day, everybody, and I'll see you next time.